My name is Kerrie, and my goal is to inspire healing and meaning in all areas of life. In this podcast, we will dive deep into conversations. From heartbreak to freedom, we will explore different self-care modalities, learn to be the best expressions of ourselves, and to live with purpose. I'm here to offer my personal insights and to share my story in hopes that it will guide you on your path. This is Heal with Care, a journey of self-discovery. Have you ever noticed how busy your mind can get? From that never-ending to-do list to planning your next steps, rehashing past scenarios, dreaming up your future, and so much more. Recently, I came across a study that was from 2020, and it says that we have over 6,000 thoughts per day. Now, that's a lot of thinking. Our minds are constantly on the go. And in this episode, I want to share what I've done to help me slow down that mental chatter and to tap into a magical space where I've been able to experience peace. It's a space where I can hear the wonderful words of wisdom from Spirit, where I can find clarity for my next steps in life, and where I am constantly receiving inspiration for my next creative projects. As a practical yet spiritual person, I don't always have time to sit and meditate. However, I've found that through my everyday repetitive activities, I can maximize my time and tap into this magical space. This is where I get all the content that I'm recording for my podcast, where I find inspiration for the music that I'm creating and the guided meditations, where I gain clarity for all of life's challenges and lessons. And it's also how I reconnect with myself after a very busy day. I can list a whole bunch more reasons why I like to tap into this space, but these are just a few. And once you're able to tap into this space, it will be up to you to choose how you want to use it. So for me, I often get stressed and overwhelmed fairly easily, and you can often find me retreating to this space. The beauty about this space is that it's a space that is everywhere and anywhere. You can tap into it at any time that you choose. Sometimes this practice is described as meditation or mindfulness. I like to call it living in the moment, being fully present and aware of your environment. So after a long and hectic day, I often need time to unwind. I find that I'm a very sensitive person to all the energies around me, and I need extra time to recenter myself and release any extra baggage that I've picked up along the way. And this is a practice that really allows me to feel refreshed and to get a good night's sleep. And one ways that I tend to do this is by taking a mindful shower at the end of the day. A couple of years ago, I did a mindfulness challenge, and the goal was to bring your attention to the present moment. I decided to apply this practice in the shower, and for one, it's a private and personal space where I don't have many interruptions, and secondly, it's an opportunity for me to use this time to slow down and to really pamper myself all at the same time. Usually, if something happens during the day when I need time to process, the shower is my favorite place. It's also a place where I have an opportunity to find clarity for certain situations. And how I do this is very simple. I step into the shower, make sure that I take the time to slow down my movements. I begin to notice the details around me, the temperature of the water, how it feels on my skin, the texture of the soap, the air that surrounds me, how my feet feel on the floor. I just do all that I can to stay present with the sensations that I'm feeling around me for as long as I can. It's not about thinking or having to control anything. It's just simply about being. And in this somewhat meditative state, when you're fully present, a sense of calm may wash over you. And over time, your mind will begin to slow down and create this space. And in this space, this is where inspiration, ideas, creativity begins to flow in. And in this space, you'll find clarity, the words of wisdom, and sometimes even answers to the questions that you've had on your mind all day. And what's really funny about this is that the other day, my partner was trying to solve an issue with work and he didn't know what the answer was. And he went upstairs to take a shower. And a few minutes later, he came running down. I figured out what I'm going to do. And I'm like, okay, great. And in my head, I was laughing because I was planning to record this podcast and he just solidified what I was actually thinking. So, as you can see, this is very simple and it can be done at any time. I don't know about you, but I take a shower every day before bed, and I find that's the perfect time for me. For some of you, it might be early in the morning, so it's totally up to you if you want to try this. I have also been watching some of the old episodes of Hollywood Medium on YouTube with Tyler Henry. And there was this one episode where he was part of a brain study where the doctors would have a look at two brain scans. One was a general brain scan from his everyday life, which is normal, and that would be their starting point. And then the second scan was taken during one of his mediumship readings. And what the doctors revealed is that his brain activity showed up on the scan as normal for the first scan. And then the second scan, it was in this dreamlike state where people would usually be sleeping during this time, but he looked like he was fully awake and aware of what was happening. And so in this space is where he was able to connect with loved ones that are on the other side. So while you can draw your own conclusions based off of the information provided, I actually find this very fascinating. And the way that Tyler describes this state for his readings is that it feels like he's in a daydream. And that made total sense to me because when I'm providing intuitive readings, I feel like I'm tapping into this daydream state where I can actually pull messages from. And if I could personally describe it, I usually describe it as feeling like I'm using my imagination. But in order to access it, you have to let go of some of your thoughts and create space for what spirit has to say. And for me, being fully present usually helps me to get there. Anyways, I thought that this was something interesting that I wanted to share. And if this is something that you want to check out, you can search on YouTube Tyler Henry brain test results and it will come up and you can see what happened there. One thing that really helps me to access this space is what I've learned through yoga. And a lot of it is around surrendering and letting go. I have found that if I use my breath, I'm able to really allow myself to let go. I just imagine every time I'm exhaling that I'm either releasing and relaxing my body or I'm letting go of something. And the way that I find this work, and I feel like it works hand in hand, is that as your mind is able to let go, so does your body. And then the other way around is if your body is able to let go, so does your mind. So if my mind's really busy, I'll really focus on my body and trying to release stuff. And then that allows my brain to slow down. So I hope that makes sense. But the best way that I can describe it is it's like a process of detaching. So yoga is also about detaching, so is meditation. And it's letting go of situations, expectations, or things that are tied to this physical world. It's a gentle surrender that creates space for calm and clarity. So this practice can be applied to so many other areas of your life. And if you're feeling like you're too busy and you don't want to sit down, here are a few active ways that I have been able to incorporate this awareness into my everyday routine. I can also do it when I'm eating, like sitting quietly on my own, when I'm walking my dogs, or even doing my chores. So This is really great if you find chores to be such a daunting task. Consider this. It's the perfect opportunity for you to create a mindfulness practice. I used to dislike doing my chores, but since it's something that I need to do regularly, I've started to use this time as an opportunity to practice being fully present. And not only does this leave me with a clean home, but there's also the potential to enter that magical, beautiful space. And when I'm done, I am often inspired. So, with that being said, I wouldn't recommend organizing tasks for this type of practice, as they require so much more focus. Instead, try and use chores like washing the dishes, sweeping or vacuuming, folding the laundry, or even scrubbing your bathtub. These are just repetitive tasks that create the perfect rhythm for that mindfulness practice. So, once you're able to tap into this part of you, it can totally change how you live your life and how you see the world. Our minds are filled with so much deep thoughts, all of which are there to keep us safe and protect us. But sometimes that protection shows up as fear. And there have been so many times when my mind has told me not to do something, making me doubt and have hesitations. But once I am aware that this is what my mind is doing, I remind myself all the time, thank you for trying to protect me and bringing up past experiences, but this doesn't apply to me in this moment. So just having that awareness makes a huge difference. A good example that I can give you right now is every time that I want to create a podcast or I'm coming up with different ideas of what I want to speak about, I'm constantly being reminded of the times when I tried to speak, but nobody was listening, or at least that's how it felt to me. And my mind still wanders, like, will anyone even listen to what I have to say? And deep down, I'm just like, I don't care. I know I have something to say, and if someone listens to it, then that's great. If not, not a big deal. I said what I needed to say, so I'm using my voice. So when I take a step back and recognize that the past experiences that made me believe that I shouldn't move forward, everything shifts. I choose to replace the past trauma that I have with a new perspective, which is to live my life as if it's my last opportunity to give it my all. And this is a work in practice, but this is something that I've really been starting to incorporate into my life. I realize that most of the time, it's just my mind trying to protect me from the pain of hurt and failure. And while those fears are valid based on my past experiences, I've learned to acknowledge them without judgment and still follow what I feel called to do. Because when I'm in this state of clarity, I trust the inner knowing far more than the doubts that have been created in my mind. So, one of the reasons I created this episode is because the practice that I'm sharing is simple and it could be applied to everyone's daily life. And the other reason is that I wanted to share that I've finally taken the leap to create something that I've been inspired to do for years, which is creating guided meditations. Like this podcast, it's been something that I've put off for a very long time. But this month, I began recording guided meditations alongside with my sound baths. So I play all the sounds myself using crystal singing bowls and other instruments. And I'm really excited to experiment with meditations of varying lengths and for different scenarios. So if you have the time that you can carve out into your day, I'd love for you to check out my YouTube channel. It's Heal with Care, and I'll include the link in the show notes. I'd also love to hear your suggestions, like what kind of meditations would be more helpful for you. Let me know in the comment sections of my videos, and I can create content that best suits my listeners. So with that being said, I'd like to wrap up this episode. I really encourage you to find activities that allow you to live in the present moment and create space for peace in your life. Whether it's during a walk or while doing chores or even in the shower, This awareness can change how you think, feel, and see the world around you. By carving out these little pockets of time, you can spark creativity, gain clarity, and invite a sense of inner calm into your life. Remember, it's not about doing it perfectly. We're not always going to 100% clear our minds. It's about starting somewhere and seeing where it leads you. You will be amazed by the amount of inner wisdom that will be showing up to guide you and inspire you each and every day. Thank you so much for listening in. I hope you found this episode insightful. If you feel called to, please share this podcast, subscribe to it, and leave a rating and review. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, you can email me at healwithcare@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram at healwithcare. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next episode.